In this exercise, we are going to work on a little known movement of our shoulder blades, and that is protraction, which is the ability to get your shoulder blades reaching forwards away from your spine and flush onto your rib cage. So for this exercise, we are going to find a nice deep stretch. We're going to do some breath work in that stretch, and then we're going to do some PAILs rails to really kind of give you the full rounded exercise of stretching, improving your flexibility and lengthening of those tissues, plus building strength at your end ranges as well, so it translates into usable mobility. So we're going to hit it from all angles in this exercise. So you're going to need a dowel rod or PVC pipe or fancy broomstick. We're going to get into a seated position like so, and you're going to put the PVC pipe in the front here on your legs so you can kind of pull yourself into a nice deep protraction stretch. This position might be challenging for a lot of people. So the other thing you can do is, instead of being in this position with a dowel rod, you can also use a band that is attached to something in front of you like this, or we can now be here because maybe you need that instead of this because this is not comfortable for you based off of what you have going on here, based off of your mobility or flexibility that you have or don't have. Sometimes that's easier, but I'm going to show you with what I have today, which is the dowel rod. Now, when we get into this position, you should feel that your shoulder blades are pulling away from your spine, reaching forwards, and you should feel a nice stretch in between your shoulder blades, right where everybody likes to get or talk about how they have those knots. I'm using air quotes, knots in their shoulder blades. So when you're in this stretch, you want to think about inhaling in through your nose, and as you inhale, expanding your rib cage in between those shoulder blades. So go ahead and try inhaling in. Exhale, sink into the stretch. Actively reach. Good. Now, we're going to hold this stretch as you're kind of reaching forward. We're going to hold this stretch for the prescribed amount of time, starting at that 30 to 60 second mark maybe, but we're working up to 2 minutes. Once your 2 minutes is done, we are going to do PAILs rails. Let me show you what that is. There is no movement happening, but there are movements you are thinking about trying to do. PAILs is going to be thinking about pulling your shoulder blades and squeezing them back together. So we're thinking about this, not elbows, but shoulder blades squeezing back together. Now, because you are attached to this and your feet are blocking it, you will not be able to pull them back, but I want you to think about that in PAILs. You should feel those muscles that were stretched contracting. Relax those, and then after, we're gonna reach forward as far as we can, engaging all of the front chest muscles to really pull ourselves into a deeper stretch. So you should feel increased stretch with that, but really feel the active engagement of your protractor scapular muscles as well in your rails. So get back into the stretch. Let's work on going through those again. So we're reaching into that protraction stretch. Then from there, we are going to try to retract or pull our shoulder blades back together. So squeeze into that PAILs contraction, ramping up slowly over 10 to 15 seconds up to the desired amount of intensity, then holding for 10 to 15 seconds, then ramping down and relaxing. Then from there, reaching and trying to push your shoulder blades away from your spine more. So reach, 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 actively pulling yourself deeper into that range of motion, slowly working up the intensity over 10 to 15 seconds, holding at the desired amount of intensity for 10 to 15 seconds, and then ramping down. Now, that would be one round of your PAILs rails. Depending on your training day, you might have additional ones, but that would be how to perform one of them. Over time, you should feel like you get better awareness and contraction of those muscles. You have the ability to get deeper into that stretch. You have more tolerance in that stretch, and that it carries over, that awareness carries over into the other types of exercises that you're doing as well. So make sure that you are loading these with other strength training exercises. But over time, you should feel that you have a lot more strength, stability, and mobility in your shoulders.